Okay, so I am super excited about this stamp set. This stamp set is called Waterfront and it's only $17 in the catalog, and it is very, very versatile. You can make tropical cards, you can make masculine cards, you can make sympathy cards, you can just make thinking of you cards, any kind of cards. This is the card that I'm going to be showing you how to make today, and it uses a watercolor technique that just makes it look like you painted it. It's very artistic. I know it looks difficult, but it's actually pretty easy, and the results are just stunning, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and set that card aside, and go ahead and take out your watercolor piece of paper that I've already cut for you. And we are going to start with stamping the mountains. So we're going to start with soft suede or whatever similar color that you may have. And we're going to use this stamp that kind of looks like a mountain. So go ahead and ink it up. And I pick a spot about 2/3 of the way up. And go ahead and stamp that. And then stamp another one just off to the side there. Okay, and before you go any further, you're going to take your aqua painter and go ahead and color in the mountain. Kind of smear all the edges. You don't want to put too much water on it, so if it starts pooling up, either take a tissue and dab it, or just wait for it to dry. And actually, we want to wait for all of our images to dry in between stamping other layers. So if you don't have time to sit there and wait, what I suggest you do is take your heat tool and just put a little blast of heat on it, just to kind of dry it up. This way the edges don't bleed and run into each other. So the next step we're going to do is still using the soft suede. We're going to go ahead and stamp it off, and then we're going to stamp the mountain that's showing behind the other two. And then I'm going to do one more. So just stamp it off again, then up there. And then go ahead and use your aqua painter to kind of soften those edges as well. Okay, the next step is to put in this mountain right here in the foreground. So I'm going to go ahead and ink that up, and this one we're going to do in full color. And I'm just going to put it just right there. Okay, and then go ahead and use your aqua painter again and blend. Okay, so now we're going to set this aside. We're done with that for now. And we're done with the soft suede. Go ahead and let that dry, or hit it with your heat tool. The next thing we're going to do is add in the green right here. This is going to be using Garden Green. And I'm using this little swish right there, back and forth. Let's go ahead and ink it up. And this one, I'm going to position it so that it kind of gets in the crack right there. Let's see. It might not be perfect, but I'm going to do my best. And then just kind of stamp a few more around. And sometimes you might want to rotate it just to get a different stamp. image, and go right there, and maybe one more down here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is just make sure you wipe off the tip of your aqua painter. You don't want colors bleeding into each other. And just go ahead and blend that out. And then you can use the excess color to kind of fill in the white spaces where the stamp pad, or the stamp image, I guess, did not reach. And you don't want to blend it so much that it doesn't have any edges, but just enough to soften those. And kind of create the image that you're looking for in the shape. Fill in that white a little bit more up here. Okay, so we're done with the garden green. The next part is going to be the water right in the middle. I'm going to use Marina Mist for that. And I'm going to use this rather large triangular shaped squishy. Okay, this one, let's see, just kind of get it in there. And I'm going to stamp off because I don't want it as, I want it a little bit lighter there. So go ahead and make sure you wipe off the tip of your aqua painter again, and then go ahead and go in and start coloring that in. And then we're also going to do the darker color, which is Dapper Denim, right on top, and that one uses the same stamp that we used for the grass. So you'll want to go ahead and clean that off real good. And now I'm going to do a few little swishies with my Dapper Denim. Stamp off a little bit. There. And then do one here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and blend that. And I'm just going to drag a little bit of the color down just to create a kind of faded looking image. Okay, so I'm going to want that to dry. So I'm going to use my heat tool. And then the next part is we're going to put these fun little splatter dots right on top just to give the water some depth. And for that I used the Dapper Denim again. And I stamped it and then stamped off because I don't really want it to be super heavy. There. Okay. And then the next part is going to be the trees. The trees I stamped in Mossy Meadow. And I'm just going to pick a spot over here on the left where they seem to fit. And same with over here on the right. And I'm going to just do two trees over here just to kind of vary the picture. Okay. We're also going to want to soften these a little bit, but not too much. So just use your aqua painter just to kind of soften it, but you don't want those lines on the trees to go away or it to blend in too much with the background. Okay. Okay, before I forget, the sun. I am using Daffodil Delight for my sun. And I'm just going to put that up here, right behind the mountains. Blend that out. And again, I'm not squishing this at all. I'm just using the water that's coming out free-flowing. And the last part is the sky. You can either choose to add the blue like I did, or you can leave it white if you want a cleaner looking image. But I'm going to go ahead and use the blue. And what I used for that is the same stamp that we used in the water. So I'm just going to kind of stamp a little bit. And then I'm going to stamp it off because I don't really want it to be too heavy. And oh, this is Soft Sky. Okay, so now that I've got that stamped up there a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and just use my aqua painter just to blend that in. Okay, there's our sky. The last part is adding in a sentiment. So the sentiment I chose was "Friends make the good times better," but there are several others in the stamp set that would be appropriate, or you could add your own sentiment if you wanted to turn it into a birthday card, a thinking of you card, or sympathy card. It really could be anything. So I'm just going to go ahead and stamp this off to the right. And the last part is just to put your card together. So go ahead and fold your crumb cake cardstock in half for your base. And layer on to basic black. Make sure when you adhere the watercolor paper, sometimes it gets a little bit bent when you're working with the water. So you want to put enough adhesive on the outside edges so that way it kind of flattens out. And then when I put it down, I just like to hold it down a little bit so the outside edges really get stuck on there. And there we have it. This is one of those stamp sets that's really versatile and turns your cards into little masterpieces in no time. Hope you guys had fun doing it.